Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am referee Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video I'm going to be taking my first look into Traveler, the core rulebook. This is the updated 2022 from Mongoose, and I've had this for quite some time actually, and just getting around to doing it. The reason why is I follow another YouTuber, Shawner, who talks about this game a lot, and um, he talks about role playing and role playing the hard way is something that he actually has on Drive Through RPG. It's a book that he had written, and he often argues that you cannot role play in Dungeons and Dragons, which I do disagree with him on a certain point, but I haven't dug into Traveler to the point that I know where he's coming from when he says that. So I wanted to start digging into this system so that I can better see how this system is so dramatically different from Dungeons and Dragons, whether it be old school or modern Dungeons and Dragons, and to see where he's really coming from. So that's what I wanted to do with this, and I do actually have an intent to certainly play this. I would love to play in a Traveler game, and and at some point I might actually like to run this as well, just to get a really good sense of the system. I do have the original, and I think that that is going to be far less accessible today running the original. I know that it still has a huge fan base, but I think that if I go to a convention, let's say, and I'm going to do a one shot, I think that the more modern interpretation on Mongoose, and Mongoose does make some very good products. So I think that they probably advanced the mechanics of the game to the point that it'd be far more palatable for players who aren't so nostalgic that they're still sticking to first edition. So, without further ado, let's just start taking a look at the introduction. So, I will go through this entire core rule book, and then I'll see where things kind of stand, whether or not I go even further into this game system by buying some of the other hardcover supplements that come along with this. So before I go all in on it, I want to check it out. So here we go. We are going to jump right into the PDF, and I will zoom in on this so that you can read along with me. And I'm just going to stick to the introduction because, again, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to see where the difference comes from, in Shawner making that declarative either statement or just the declarative impression that this game is much more open to role playing than Dungeons and Dragons. So here we go. The introduction. So if you were not familiar, I will read some of this here. I will gloss over other parts as well. So Traveler is a science fiction role-playing game of the far future. A multitude of universes await players, and you will find Traveler is capable of handling almost any kind of science fiction setting, from highly intricate cyberpunk worlds to campaigns spanning entire galaxies where the mighty empires clash and suns explode. If you have a favorite science fiction film or TV show, Traveler will be able to replicate it for you, bringing your best loved futuristic moments to your tabletop. All right, so what this tells me right off the bat is that it is a thematically generic science fiction role playing game, right? So you can turn it or twist it to be able to fit any subgenre of science fiction, right? So that's one thing that's slightly different than, let's say, old school D&D, is that old school D&D is really kind of couched into the high fantasy subgenre of fantasy. Charted space. While Traveler is intended to be used for any science fiction setting its players devise, the longest running commercially available universe, indeed one of the oldest role playing game settings of all, is charted space. Humanity has gone to the stars and found them crowded with other forms of life and other sentient species, and science and technology have advanced vastly over the present day. But the essential nature of humanity is unchanged. Life continues as it does now, only spread out over the sea of stars. A mighty imperium unites thousands of worlds under a single rule, but it is beset by enemies both internal and external. The Imperium commands the space between the stars, ensuring that civilization endures and trade continues. Megacorporations and feudal lords conduct the bulk of this trade, but there will always be a place for the free trader, hardy travelers, and adventurers on the fringes of charted space, dealing in strange goods and smuggled cargoes, doing whatever they can to make credit. While Traveler can be used to model almost any science fiction novel, movie, or setting, the traditional setting for adventurers is the Third Imperium of Humanity, the third great empire to stretch across the stars. In the charted space universe, players take on the roles of tramp traders and mercenaries wandering the galaxy in search of profit and adventure. Players and travelers, most participants, I'm sorry, let me, you know, first of all, I want to stop for a moment, and I wanted to say, just in this introduction, this is incredibly well written. I mean, it has just a nice flow to it that even when sometimes I'm reading something for the first time and I will stop and pause, this really does have an excellent flow to it. And it is very, very easy to read. So that's one thing I want to point out, that this is, one of the easiest introductions that I've come across to read. Now let me go back to players and travelers. Most participants in the Traveler game will be players. Usually, each player generates a character using the Traveler creation rules. That that character becomes the player's avatar in the game world and is called a Traveler. These travelers are the central protagonists of the game, and scenarios revolve around their adventures and actions. Throughout this rulebook, the term player and traveler are synonymous. The term character is used to describe those in the game controlled by the referee rather than the players, what are often called non player characters. However, rules that apply to travelers are usually applicable to characters and vice versa. The referee. One of the participants is the referee, who describes the world around the travelers, presents them with challenges and dangers, and takes on the role of the supporting cast and antagonists. The referee creates the basic outline of the adventures that the travelers encounter and resolves the results of their actions using the rules in the book as a guideline. Traveler Rule Zero. Many role playing games have a Rule Zero which marks out a referee's fiat, the notion that the referee is free to ignore or change any rule to fit in with their campaign. This is true of Traveler as well, but it is worth making a special note about this game. Traveler comprises several mini games such as world creation, trade, and character creation that allows much of the game to run on autopilot. In many circumstances, the referee is able to make a few rolls on a few tables and generate characters, battles, even a sizable part of the known universe. This is great news for the busy referee who can then concentrate on the adventure. However, while these tools are in place, the referee should never feel bound by them and has the latitude to ignore and generated results in the preference to their own creations. Traveler Rule Zero is this. The rules in this book, indeed in every Traveler book, provide merely a framework. If any rules conflicts with the referee's vision for their universe, even if the universe is the official charted space setting, then they must give way and be altered to fit. Adventures and campaigns. In an adventure, the travelers embark on a journey or scenario overseen by the referee. The referee determines what dangers the travelers will face, from hostile aliens and criminals to solar flares and automated defense systems, or even political intrigue and deception. The travelers decide how they will react and overcome these obstacles. For example, the travelers may be hired to bring a cargo from one world to another, but a rival merchant is trying to stop them and has hired a band of mercenaries to attack the traveler's ship en route. The travelers have to get the cargo through safely. An adventure can be a one off game using travelers created by the referee specifically for that game and discarded afterwards, or it can be part of a campaign. An adventure takes one or more game sessions to complete. A campaign is a series of adventures charting the continuing escapades of a group of travelers and is the most common form of traveler, mainly because it is the most fun and rewarding. A campaign can be continuous or episodic. In a continuous campaign, each adventure follows on almost immediately from the end of the last, and the fuel, resources, and money available to the travelers is carefully tracked. In an episodic campaign, there are longer gaps between adventures, and the game focuses only on the exciting and conflict-filled parts of the travelers' lives. Campaign ideas. These are few common types of campaign. I'm sorry. These are a few common types of campaign that are often used in Traveler. The Trader campaign. The travelers form the crew of a free trader merchant vessel, taking whatever cargoes they can get to keep their spacecraft flying in one piece. Inspiration for games like this could come from TV series like Firefly or video games such as Elite and Privateer. The military campaign. The travelers are all members of a military unit, usually veterans of various careers participating in wars, skirmishes, and other military activities. Inspiration could come from the Honor Harrington novels, the film Aliens or Starship Troopers, the book animated series, or film. The Explorer campaign. In a campaign of this type, the travelers go beyond the borders of the charted space looking for objects, planets, and civilizations of value or curiosity. The travelers will have to be highly self sufficient to survive on their own, For long stretches, for inspiration, look no further than the original series of Star Trek, the Traveler campaign. The traditional Traveler campaign features a little bit of everything. The travelers will go from exploring abandoned alien ziggurats to rescuing missing pets to taking on local crime lord in a protracted gang war. Inspiration could come from anywhere. Specialized types of campaigns are detailed in two expansions: Mercenary and Element class cruisers. Mercenary shows travelers how to recruit, run, and fight with a dedicated military unit, allowing them to make their fortune with a platoon or company of soldiers. Meanwhile, Element class cruisers includes the Naval Campaign Sourcebook, which provides everything needed to run a bridge crew style of campaign where the travelers will be the senior officers of a mighty capital ship. Further reading, so there are the Traveler Companion. I'm not going to get into all of these. High Guard. Um, I would probably pick up High Guard because I believe that is the one that features building ships. All right. The Third Imperium is the main source book of understanding the empire. So I would probably recommend getting that as well. I probably would get that as well. And then there are several others. Um, I will get into the gaming conventions a little bit later. So getting into, how you actually play the game and what are the roles and such of the game as well. So I will save that for the next video in this series here. So so far, my first impressions. The introduction and the themes and the various types of roles that you can play as far as fitting within those themes, the different types of campaigns that you can do, even the types, the difference between the types of adventuring that you can do, whether it be a series of adventures in a sequential campaign, or if you're going to run it episodic, is another option there as well. So far, I'm really impressed with the writing. And once again, I do want to point out that the main developers of this, I'll try to get to the developers, Matthew Sprang. Obviously, the original classic Traveler is Mark Miller. Um, let's see. So yes, it appears that the developers Michael Matthew Sprang, and then the original core mechanics are Gareth Hanrahan and um, proofing is Charlotte Law. So writing wise, and the introduction is not credited to any one individual. So I would go with the primary author of that. Probably wrote the introduction as well. So far, very interesting, and I of course encourage any comments to be made in the comments section. If there's anything that you would like to point out, and once again, I mean, just based on the introduction, is there anything that I might have missed where that role playing connection is better served in this game system versus others? So, and that's an open invitation for Shauner to come on in and talk about that as well. I know I wanted to. I spoke to him, and certainly wanted to do a live stream with him. So maybe we can use this video here as a jumping off point where we can start to discuss that. Although I'm somewhat under a time constraint with leaving for vacation very, very shortly, so I'm going to be quite busy over the next couple of days. but certainly would like to have a chat with him, and we can go over those things. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Be on the lookout for quite a few videos over the next couple of days, because as I've just mentioned, I just I just wanted to try to wrap up as many videos as I can before I leave for vacation. And so you're going to see a steady stream, probably 2 or 3 videos, including shorts, throughout the rest of this week, leading up to Friday, and then I will have some short videos dropping every single day remotely, and maybe I'll do a live stream from vacation. So I'll see how that works out and what kind of internet connection I have, and what time I have in order to do that. So as always, thanks for joining. I look forward to seeing you on a gaming screen sometime soon, or at a convention. And convention season is upon us. I know Gen Con is wrapping up tomorrow. So for all of you out there enjoying Gen Con, I hope you're having a great convention. Big news. I'm a big fan of Shadow Dark, as you probably know, and Shadow Dark just killed it at the Ennies, and so you know, great showing there for that game system, and for Kelsey Dion, and for Arcane Library, and the whole thing. Great showing there. So congratulations on that as well. All right, so you all have a great rest of your weekend, and take care.